Welcome to CAN, Caribbean Affiliate News. My name is Siobhan Gobin. Here are the stories that we're following today, August 30th, 2013. In Jamaica, High Command announces transfer of several senior cops. Port Miami to cooperate with Caribbean on security issues. In Grenada, the government sets aside $500,000 for churches and faith-based organizations. And teacher protests force Mexican president to change date of national address. Details on these headlines and more when we return.
Hey, excuse me, if you see me smiling, that's 'cause I'm chilling on Total Caribbean Network. It's your boy Wyclef Jean, man, and I'm chillin', man. Total Caribbean Network. Man, I love their style. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Welcome back to CAN, Caribbean Affiliate News. My name is Siobhan Gobin. This segment of the news is sponsored by Total Caribbean Network. In Jamaica, the Police High Command confirmed yesterday that head of the Kingston Central Police Division, Superintendent Steve McGregor, will take over as head of the Trouble Division starting September 16th. McGregor will replace Senior Superintendent Ronald Anderson, who was transferred to the division in April. Anderson replaced Senior Superintendent Terrence Bent. 11-year-old Tashanique James is among several persons gunned down in West Kingston in recent weeks as part of what police investigators believe is a turf war between rival gangs. The Police High Command said Anderson will take over as head of the St. Catherine South Police Division, while Superintendent Victor Hamilton has been transferred from Mobile Reserve to head the Kingston Central Division. Senior Superintendent Colin Pinnock, who heads the St. Catherine South Police, has been transferred to the headquarters of the Criminal Investigation Branch. The High Command also announced that Senior Superintendent Noel Christie, who heads the Trelawney Police, has been transferred to Mobile Reserve and will be replaced by Superintendent Wilfred Campbell, who is now based at Area 1 Police Headquarters in St. James. Head of the Clarendon Police, Senior Superintendent Michael Bailey, has also been transferred to the Inspectorate of Constabulary, the quality control arm of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. The transfers will take effect on September 16th. The United States Department of State has signed a partnership agreement with Port Miami aimed at helping to enhance port security in the Caribbean. As enforcement pressures increase against drug traffickers in Mexico and Central America, William R. Brownfield, Assistant Secretary of State for International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs, said on Wednesday that it is logical that criminals will try to resurrect old drug routes through the Caribbean. He therefore urged regional governments to begin preparation to combat the threat. Brownfield said his goal is to build partnerships and relationships now so that as the inevitable laws of market economics come into play in 2014 to 2016 with traffickers seeking the paths of least resistance, we are not caught with our pants down. He told the Miami Herald that the Caribbean drug trafficking routes of the 1970s and 1980s are gray-haired in some respects, but they are still around and will begin to look more attractive to traffickers as law enforcement puts more of a squeeze on Central American routes. Under the arrangement, Brownfield said Port Miami, a hub for Latin and Caribbean travel and trade, will provide training and mentoring on anti-crime and port security matters to its counterparts in the Caribbean. The partnership will also give ports in the Caribbean access to the technology experience and personnel at Port Miami. The top State Department official noted that in the 1970s and 1980s, Miami was at the center of the Caribbean drug trade. When such programs work, Brownfield said they work for everyone, eliminating long port delays that can tie up shipments for 2 to 3 days as inspectors search for drugs and other contraband. He said Port Miami would function more efficiently if ports around the Caribbean have better procedures and better inspection techniques. In Grenada, the Minister for Youth, Sports and Ecclesiastic Affairs, Honorable Emmeline Pierre, has met with leaders of churches and faith-based organizations at the National Youth and Cultural Center, Montrouge, St. George's, to discuss how the entities could work together to assist in the overall development of the nation's youth. The minister told the gathering that the government has allocated a faith-based fund for youth development to the tune of $500,000 to provide small grants to faith-based organizations for undertaking youth projects in the surrounding communities. She noted that the partnership is intended to ensure that young people experience positive transformation in their lives. The minister urged the religious leaders to put aside the petty differences and work together to assist our young people to become better citizens. He says Minister Pierre also took the opportunity to encourage the leaders to become more involved, particularly in secondary schools. She pointed out that in the past, the churches were more active in the schools, teaching students the importance of biblical values. She said, and I quote, "A young person who has everything but does not have God will eventually still fail. That is why I believe that there is need for a greater presence as it relates to spiritual engagement in the programs we offer our young people." Pastor of Emmanuel Baptist Church at St. George's, Pastor Kenneth Dubeset, who was present, said, and I quote, "It is a good initiative. There is always room for the church and the government to work together, especially as it relates to the development of youth. I think this is a calling for the Lord for the church to reach our young people." An application form for funding can be obtained from the Ministry of Youth, Sport and Ecclesiastic Affairs or from youth officers in the various constituencies. Electronic copies of the application forms may also be requested through emails. Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto decided yesterday to change the date of his first State of the Nation address due to protests by teachers angered at his education reform plan. Peña Nieto was originally scheduled to speak on Sunday, but his office announced that he will deliver the speech at his presidential residence of Los Pinos on Monday. Thousands of teachers have held protests in the past week, snarling traffic, blocking access to the airport, and forcing lawmakers to meet in a convention center after surrounding Congress. 2 weekend Football League games were also postponed. Eduardo Sanchez, the government security spokesman, told Radio Formula that the speech was moved to Monday to avoid further disrupting life in Mexico City, since the speech could be a pretext for these disturbances to continue. The president had indicated Wednesday that he had canceled a trip to Turkey because he wanted to be very attentive to the legislative agenda and that he would also move his speech date. Congress approved constitutional changes to the education system earlier this year and must now vote on specific laws to implement the changes, which include mandatory evaluations of teachers that the protesters oppose. You're watching Caribbean Affiliate News. We will be right back.
Since we announced Sign and Drive with zero out of pocket and low monthly payments, cars been flying out of Bronx Honda at a record pace. Whoa! New Accord with zero out of pocket for $249 a month, or new Civics just $199 per month, or save thousands with 0% financing. You never had to leave the Bronx to get the best price on the Honda. Bronx Honda guarantees the lowest price in the Bronx. Bronx Honda, East Tremont Avenue. Visit BronxHonda.com.